What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're looking at 10 of the most OP passives in Smite and what makes them so powerful. Let's get right into it. First up on the list, we've got Have Fun Poking Me Out of Lane Mate, better known as Xinwei's passive, Rapid Reincarnation. We've all been in those matches where we win a trade and we poke out the enemy Xinwei at 10% HP but we can't finish the kill, only to have a fly back to lane and only miss a single minion because of this dumbass passive. This passive is super powerful for being efficient in your farming and making sure you're punished less for having to back to base. It means you can buy items faster than other ADCs and get a quick item advantage in lane. Plus there's also the aspect of this passive that negates all poke thrown at you as long as you survive because you can just back and be back in lane 10 seconds later. This passive got nerfed a little while back, but she could still fly 5 times around the conquest map before landing right on time for the next minion wave pushing into a tower, so. At number 9 we've got Fafnir's passive, Endless Greed. This passive is a large part of the reason why Fafnir is so damn strong. Assuming he farms correctly, he can get items done way before other supports due to the 2 bonus gold he gets per minion death. It's not uncommon to see Fafnir as being top goal in the game if he buys like Watcher's Gift, Lono's Mask and Traveller's Shoes in combination with his passive. This allows him to get his important auras online faster, which helps both him and his team a ton. There's also the bonus protections on this passive too, like 20 of each protections for free ain't too shabby, providing you have the 1000 gold to get the full benefit of course. Especially in the early game before people get their proper defense items online, like 20 protections is pretty strong like at level 1 pretty much, which makes him much harder to kill than other supports in the early game. At number 8 we've got the ability named after the feeling you get when an Anubis auto-locks in your ranked games. Sorrow. This passive is mainly known for its huge increase to lifesteal, providing effectively double lifesteal to Anubis and making items like Bancross Talon broken on him, since it can go up to 60% lifesteal in a single item if you combine it with his passive. But there are other points to this ability that a lot of people seem to miss or disregard. Having the ability to shred up to 21 protections early game is pretty insane. Like, that's more than a Spear of Desolation just in his passive. Not to mention it also increases his own protections by the same amount, providing him some much needed defense in the early game. He also gets 30% CCR for free from this passive, making it a bit harder to lock him down with chain CC. This passive is basically a 3-in-1 and does like too much stuff really for me to not put it on this list. Even though Anubis isn't very powerful, his passive definitely is. At number 7 we've got a criminally underrated passive, Amaterasu's Illuminating Strike. This passive is really simple but also really effective. A 10% increase to all damage taken in a huge AoE is nothing to laugh at. This passive is amazing for taking objectives as you can increase the damage to Gold Fury, Fire Giant and Portal Demon by 10% for 5 seconds by using 3 autos on them. It's that simple. It can also help when clearing buff camps and minion waves too, as you'll often auto attack 3 times or more while charging her mirror, which will benefit from the damage boost on the wave or the camp. This can also be helpful when applied to gods, like if you can get into the backline and apply this to their carries or apply it to the tanks that are going to be near the carries to appeal. Your carries will have a much easier time blowing them up with a 10% damage increase that the enemy carries don't have. It's overall just a solid passive that's useful in almost any situation. Next up we've got Circe's passive, Catalyst. Circe's already insane burst damage is just augmented even further with this passive. It adds a layer of depth to her kit as it gives her additional damage if she uses abilities correctly before basic attacking the target. Doing an extra 25% of the target's max HP on top of the ult Deathbane and Madness damage is insane for single target burst. This passive doesn't offer any utility or extra CC, but it's a solid fit for her style of play, like bursting a single target down and leaving them in the ground as fast as possible. Though they do say the best CC is death. Halfway through the list at number 5 we've got Calder's passive, Scatty. Scatty is a really useful passive to have when you're playing as Calder. Like, she could often finish off kills for you with her basic attacks or even make people go ice skating while you one-hit them with your OP dash. Wait. Calder is the passive? I thought Scatty was the... Never mind. All jokes aside, Calder is broken as shit and does all the work for you. Calder is a really strong passive, providing Scatty with a ton of extra damage at the cost of just 1 ability slot. Especially the synergy with her ultimates like full heal him. Like, while it's not as OP as he was on release, he's still super powerful and like elevates Scatty's damage to another level compared to other hunters. At number 4 we've got Audacity. No other hunter in the game has access to such a powerful attack speed steroid. A 100% boost to attack speed is insane, especially early game since it's a passive and doesn't require ranking up like a normal ability. You can get 100% attack speed at level 1, which is insane for clearing waves and boxing your opponent. This also frees up his proper ability slots, allowing him 4 real abilities rather than using one of them up as just a steroid. His ability does have the caveat of not being able to like perfectly control when you can use it, whereas typical ability steroids can just be activated like exactly when you need them. But it's one of the strongest steroids in the game and it's free, which makes it one of the best passives in the game. Speaking of passive attack speed steroids, at number 3 we've got Sol's Unstable Manifestation. At full heat, this ability provides 25% attack speed, 20% bonus power, and 25% bonus damage on auto attacks. While it can be hard to keep the heat up, especially in the early game, if you can keep it stacked, it provides some of the best stats in the game for any ability, especially a passive. His passive alone allows Sol to play a more basic attack focused style if you want to, like from the insane boost to AA damage and attack speed. Not to mention how quickly she can shred objectives like towers and phoenixes with this due to her auto attacks doing magical damage. She can also swing pretty hard into things like Fire Giant, Gold Fury and Portal Demon to burn objectives super quick. As I said, it can be hard to keep this passive up reliably, but it still provides so much and out of a place on this list. Taking the penultimate spot on the list, we've got Cullen's Berserk. I'm treating this passive as a whole new set of abilities rather than just a damage shield, which is why it's so high on the list. With it being a passive, he can activate his ability super early in the game and have a massive health shield and an insane damage boost from his extra set of abilities, which gives him additional CC and damage. While there are conditions, like having high rage in order to access the passive's full power, it's not that hard to get it going when you can, it's easily one of the most powerful passives in the game, giving him a whole new set of abilities. Before I get to the number one spot, I've got a few honourable mentions. Ganesha's Good Fortune, Kumikana's Sleepy, and Erlang Shen's Howling Celestial Dog. And the best passive in the game, in my opinion, goes to Cali's Mark for Death. This passive entirely defines Cali's playstyle and largely shapes her as a god and what she's capable of. The insane heal on this passive allows her to play hyper-aggressive in combination with her ultimate, as she can fall back on the heal and still survive even the craziest of dives. She can run through entire teams providing she picks her targets right on full heals every time she runs someone down. Like, considering a late game Cali can melt through even tanks in a matter of seconds, she can proc this passive fairly reliably in teamfights, and it's a huge part of why she can hard carry games better than any other god in the game. Thanks for watching, hope you guys enjoyed the list. Let me know what you think are the best passives in the game in the comments. Also, leave any suggestions for future lists or other videos below. That's about it. Peace out, nerds.